Hey there and welcome. So today we're going to tackle something that, let's be honest, can be a little tricky for all of us, small talk. But don't worry, by the time we're done here, you're going to have some really great tools to make it feel way more natural and, actually easy. Let's jump right in. You know that feeling, right? That awkward pause in a conversation where you're just scrambling for something, anything to say? Yeah, we've all been there. It's super common. But the good news is, it's totally something we can get better at. So to really get to the bottom of what makes small talk work, we're going to zoom in on a simple, everyday situation. A conversation in a taxi. I mean, it's the perfect little case study, packed with all sorts of useful stuff to unpack. And by breaking down this one little chat, we're going to pull out some super practical phrases and cultural tips that, honestly, you can start using like today, right away. All right, first things first, let's talk about the actual words and phrases that can make a conversation just flow. You can almost think of them like little keys, right? They unlock a smoother, more comfortable chat. Okay, so check this out. The taxi driver says something pretty direct here, but listen to how he softens the blow right after. He adds that little phrase, if you don't mind me saying so. And this phrase, it's genius. It's like putting up a little polite cushion before you say something that could be a bit, bold. It basically says, hey, I know this is a little forward, and that makes people way more open to hearing what you have to say. And here's another one. The driver wants to ask a pretty personal question, how old someone is. That can be a tricky one, right? So he uses this other phrase to show he knows he's maybe stepping over a little line. The magic word here is nosy. It just means being a little too interested in someone's private life. So by saying you're being a bit nosy, you're really telling them, look, I know this is personal. You totally don't have to answer. It's just a really polite way to handle a sensitive question. Okay, so now the driver kind of realizes, maybe my question about age could be misunderstood. So he quickly jumps in with another key phrase to make sure the person knows what he really means. Don't get me wrong, this one is so useful. It's basically your emergency button for preventing a misunderstanding. It signals, hold on, let me explain the real reason I said that, so you can make sure your intention is crystal clear. All right, so we've got some great phrases to use, but that's only half of it, isn't it? Knowing what not to say is just as important, especially when you're dealing with different cultures. Yeah, so in a lot of English-speaking cultures, topics like these are kind of off limits for early small talk. Asking about a woman's age, how much money someone makes, or their marital status right off the bat, it can feel a little invasive. A really good rule of thumb is just to let them bring it up first. Simple as that. And really, this all comes back to the main point. This isn't about memorizing a bunch of strict rules. The whole goal of small talk is just to make the other person feel comfortable and build a friendly vibe. Avoiding these topics is just one way to show that you're being considerate. Okay, so we've looked at a bunch of different pieces. Let's pull it all together now into a nice, simple toolkit. Think of this as your cheat sheet for your next conversation. So here we go, your small talk toolkit. Need to soften a bold statement? Use, if you don't mind me saying so. Got a personal question? Try, excuse me if I'm being nosy. Worried about a misunderstanding? Don't get me wrong as your friend. And my favorite for keeping the ball rolling, and what about yourself? It's the easiest way to pass the conversation right back to them. And the biggest takeaway here is this. Conversation is a skill, not some kind of test. You don't have to get it perfect every single time. Honestly, every chat is just a chance to practice and get a little bit better. There's no pass or fail. So, that kind of leaves me with one last question for you to think about. Small talk is so different everywhere, right? So in your culture, what's the go-to friendly way to start a conversation? It's pretty cool to think about all the different ways we connect. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today.